think we may be up and running this time.
Acquire a target.
That didn't look positive. That did work. Okay. Right. I think. Yeah. There we go. Sorry about the dicking about with my. Right, it's correct. What is A? Oh, wait, what? Getting. Doesn't want to activate. There we go. I know exactly what it'll be. Because it's recently done it, hasn't it? That's all good. Right. I'm not going to constantly fight with it for now. I'm just doing some world quests. I'm a little bit, unfair to say, behind on world quests at the moment, but we'll live with that.
I am out of range.
Much less risk.
That's
They'll
another one.
overrun the damage
I think that's going to be this finished. It is. Nice. Actually, I feel like I'm not broadcasting sound to YouTube, which is a bit of an issue. Bear with me a second. Am I broadcasting sound to Twitch? Am I broadcasting sound to Twitch? Okay, I am. Cool. Is YouTube not cooperating? That's the question. Right. 1 2 1 2. Holy moly, that's some extreme lag. But it helps if it don't turn off.
Wastelanders intercepted a recent shipment of weapons. I need you to steal back the stolen goods.
1 2 1 2. Let me tell you, it's pretty dire. Anyway, I think I've got it up and running just now. Definitely have a lot to learn with this streaming lap. Let me tell you. Pick these up. Right, one last one is, yeah, I think, yeah, it is. These ads are super annoying. They always get behind me. There we go.
Excellent. Those weapons are meant to defend against the Wastelanders, not embolden them.
Definitely not going to manage to finish the world quest today.
These ruins are filled with the fragments of our lost history. The Trust's archaeologists
Yeah.
can't safely excavate.
Oh yeah, it's the wee things that are buried in the ground.
Retrieve
I remember. Also crates here. Here. Some horrendous lag there. One. One. Yeah.
I know some complain that removing
Hey,
from their original context invalidates
let
their
me do
value.
one more quest. I don't think I do. So I am going to head back to. Oh. I'll do some wrapping up in this character. See if we can get set up for the live stream.
I need to target something.
Another thing I do want to do very quickly is I have completed the trading post. So I can go down here and collect my other mount. The Legion Fort Ellie. And this in here.
Faith kindles my hope.
Can you feel it?
Belladon
Oh.
hums with joy. With done well,
one
my friend.
there. And of two like void shifter. I'll fix in a minute. Right. I'll very quickly put these up in the auction house.
I have calibrated my prices to be
I feel I'm running out of time.
my things.
Went through a bit of vendoring.
I have many wares.
Warbound until they quit. Champion Claude Race. Right, I'm just going to figure out what gear character for that. No. Why not? No, I guess. Okay. Neck adventure there. Plus feet. That. Bank.
May your
That's
feet
the
find good trails.
pet. One-handed agility or strength. Agility only sword. One-handed agility only sword. Okay, so okay. Strong. That. Definitely don't need that. That. Sold. There. Very quickly. I'm really running out. I'm really running tight for time, but it's fine. Couple of, right. Two of these we can buy. Right. Sold as well.
My directive is to serve you. My directive has been.
I am going to. Okay, the deep dive is up and running. What I'm very quickly do is I am going to add an extra source. Source will be window capture. Up, and the window is going to be this, hopefully. That worked. Okay. I'll shrink this down a lot for the moment and we'll put that up there. audio's on. It is. Back over here. There we go. Right. Very quickly. I just don't want to miss it because I'm trying to get my shit in gear, you know?
For a friend of the
Because it will take me a few minutes to get all my shit in gear. I think it's fair to say. Right, so
I have an extended
Warband.
supply of goods for outlanders.
that in there. Here. No, that doesn't go in here. This goes in here. Into my normal bank. I've now got 15. Estimate is 20 I need. Okay. Warband. That in there. Put currency tab. Here. I think this out of here.
Return and peruse my
I want to make a
inventory.
fourth one of these. And then let's see what do I need. Okay. I was just figuring out there.
Prices to be reasonable.
Going back to my bank. Agents tab. You can go in there.
My things.
Good. That sorted out. I was given a blank screen. Keep an eye on that. Right, anyway, I think we're good on this for just now. I'm going to very quickly grab a drink. Be right back. I'm paying terribly for lack of organisation here. But it's fine. Right, I am going to adjust my screen. Shrink wow. I'm going to expand expand this to about here. As you can see, I'm not great at this, but I know what I'm doing. I will go to here. I'll make this go to full screen on this. And then I can bring this over to here. So, and I am going to pull that down to here. Oh, it started. Right, let's get this.
What's up, everybody?
The medicine
Here's
guy.
the end of The War Within, the first dramatic chapter of the World Soul Saga. We've seen the adventure take us into the depths of the world, and even to worlds cast out in the great dark beyond. We've seen our villain Xal'atath running around and amassing untold power. We've seen her siphon the energies of Dalaran, and even those of the black blood beneath Azj-Kahet. And recently, Xal'atath assumed the power of the last Void Lord, Dimensius. So the question remains, what will she do with all that power? And what are her intentions relative to our precious World Soul? So now, as midnight descends, and the second, darker chapter of our trilogy begins, Xal'atath has returned to Azeroth, leading an army known as the Devouring Host. intent on snuffing out the light of the Sunwell and plunging the world into darkness. You, the heroes of Azeroth, will be set on a collision course with Xal'atath to save not only Azeroth itself, but everything that is.
That was a cool intro. I like that. Oh, these graphics.
Hi everyone. As we kick off our Midnight Alpha,
Now we get
I wanna
Ian.
give you all a deep dive into what's in store. We want to recap everything we've shared so far, along with some brand new details. Today we're going to talk about the story.
We
of
are
Midnight,
getting new
as well
details.
as the zones,
That's good to
dungeons,
know.
delves, and raids that await if you want to save our world from Xal'atath. We're also going to talk about some big new features coming in Midnight, like Prey and the Devourer Demon Hunter specialization. And of course, let's not forget housing. Thank you
Of
so much
course.
for joining us today.
Oh,
And as always, thank you for
and more
being a part of
details
this
about
amazing
Prey,
community,
we
for
definitely
choosing to
want.
spend your time in Azeroth
For
and
sure.
with each other. Now, without further ado, let's see what's in store for our home away from home.
Yes, let's.
After all, it's nearly midnight.
Hey, I like that.
The void storm rages in the sky. A surging
A new
vortex
cinematic.
of shadow.
New
and
cinematic.
chaos. Xal'atath has returned. Wielding the dark heart, she carves a path of destruction through once tranquil lands. Her all-consuming goal: devour the heavens, blot out all light, and bring about her midnight. It is in the shadow of this swirling storm that the defenders of Azeroth must rally once more. For peace, for the light, for the good. This is not a battle. It is a reckoning. At the Sunwell, that eternal bastion of light and hope, Lady Liadrin and Lord Themar Theron lead the Blood Elves as they prepare to make their final stand. Because across all worlds and all stories, one thing never changes. Home is worth fighting for. Welcome to World of Warcraft Midnight. Your story begins on the Isle of Quel'Danas. In the immediate aftermath of Xal'atath's invasion, the Sunwell surges with light, calling out to all heroes of Azeroth for aid, while the vile creatures of the Void wage a relentless assault in the hopes of extinguishing it once and for all. Flying monstrosities attack from darkened skies, and malign foes manifest without warning to wreak havoc across the plateau. Stand true with the champions of Azeroth as they mount a desperate defense against this invasion. For if the Sunwell falls, so too does the world.
This is a voiceover over the cinematics we've seen before. But
The defense of the Sunwell leads you directly
look.
to Silvermoon City.
If that's
Not
how
the one
it
you
says
know.
alpha footage, so
The
this is
renewed
for
light
real.
of the Sunwell
I
symbolizes
like this. I
Silvermoon's
like this a lot.
revitalization, shining over a city fully restored to a thrumming, living capital. Familiar landmarks gleam with fresh polish, while new areas like the Sanctum of Light and the Garden of Remembrance offer countless nooks and stories to explore.
Is that Lothamar's voice actor?
Inside
Wonder.
the city walls,
Wonder
the
if it
threat of
is.
Xal'atath's war draws the Alliance and Horde into wary cooperation.
We're not going to look
With
like
shared
that in real
spaces
life.
hosting common services like trainers, the auction house, vendors, and more. Around a third of the city remains off-limits to those under the Lion's banner,
Okay,
so the
Game-
Alliance
Oh.
allegiant should tread lightly or risk being attacked on sight.
tread lightly.
Outside the city walls, however, is where your role in the fight against the Void really begins to take shape. The strength of the Sunwell infuses Eversong Woods with restorative energy, healing much of the damage of wars past and filling the zone with new growth and new life. All of what you remember of this lush, thriving forest is here. But Eversong is also a reimagined landscape of increased scale and greater beauty.
Very bunny.
Most
I like it a
noticeably,
lot.
the Ghostlands and Eversong
Like it a
Woods
lot.
are now joined into one large zone, which is itself joined to the Eastern Kingdoms. Eversong's flourishing fluorescence
We knew
is
that.
not without complication. Though the Sunwell's light is a boon to the environment, its surging power causes pockets of light bloom, small
Look at the
groves
light
of
and-
light-enriched growth, to experience surges of their own. The light bloom's rampant propagation, if left unchecked, threatens to smother all life under an overgrown
I guess
tangle.
this is one of the world
Your
events.
adventures through Eversong will have you
Yeah.
investigating the light bloom, dealing with the aftermath of a Hawkstrider chick gone wild, helping a suspicious apothecary with questionable motives, untangling the secrets of two feuding nobles, and even getting caught up in a sinister murder plot, alongside Magister Umbric as he works to crack the secrets of the Void. It is up to you how your story progresses beyond Eversong Woods, with 3 available
Like
paths
this.
you can tackle
Ooh,
in
look
any
at
order.
that. There's signs of
Brave
damage.
the ancient troll kingdom of Zulaman.
Then Suleiman.
Investigate the gnarled hidden roots of Harandar. Or
Pretty.
accompany Arator on his journey to better understand the light, the void, and himself. Zulaman finds the Amani Troll Empire at one of its lowest points. The homeland of warlord Zuljin, Zulaman was once a place
Oh, I
where
like
Noah
that.
bestowed to
That's
the
quite
Amani their godly
unexpected,
strength,
but I kind of
and were
like the
devoutly
grab
revered in kind.
special.
The temples
do.
still stand, weathered but proud. The eagle, the lynx, the dragonhawk, and the bear. Ascend wind-swept sky-scraping peaks, explore ruins shrouded in fog, traverse stormy wilds teeming with vicious beasts, and accompany Zuljara, granddaughter of Zuljin, and
That
the pragmatic
is-
pillar
yeah.
of strength now leading the Amani. As
That
she
really
seeks a
does
means
look
to
like a
save her
troll,
people
doesn't it?
from
More than
void-aligned cultists and the monsters
a
they
druid.
revere.
And it's very
The Amani
interesting.
are invaluable allies in the defense against Zalatath's invading
I think
force.
that they've chosen
If
to
you
do
help
that.
them fight for their home, they will help you fight for yours. At the confluence of the world tree's roots lies an impossible primordial jungle known as Harandar. It is here that Azeroth's entire history wraps, twists, and braids, a literal entanglement of all that has been and all that will be. Harandar is a land of magical, powerful growth. Fungal towers, glowing moss bridges, and entire villages sprout from Harandar's wild, organic fabrics. The pulsing heart of this knotted tangle is the Cradle, once the domain of a nascent goddess, long vanished, and now the home of the Haranir, who have for generations lived secretly under its soothing light. The reclusive Haranir are a proud and insular people. They have long avoided interfering in matters of the world above, but Sorry about that. But Zalatath's destructive ambition does not stop at the surface, and the Haranir can no longer afford the luxury of neutrality. There is another way you can help with the defense of Azeroth against Zalatath's cruel machinations. Accompany Erator, son of Turalian and Aleria Windrunner, on a continent-spanning journey in the hopes of bolstering the Sunwell and strengthening the vanguard of the light. This story-driven adventure finds you traveling with Erator as he searches for sacred relics and attempts to peel back the mysteries of the Void, all while grappling with his own relationships to his family and the light. Erator's mission brings new experiences to familiar locations. Defend Light's Hope Chapel from an attack by Scourge forces.
Doesn't
Fight
look
through
like
the darkened
updated
corridors
visuals.
of Scarlet Monastery to put to rest those
We'll go
who
into
would
Scarlet
pervert the
Monastery.
light for their
That looks
own
updated.
nefarious gain, and work with
That
Sunwalker
looks a lot
Desco
more-
in Hammerfall to help Erator in discovering the
Back to
paladin
Arathi
he aspires
Islands.
to
What's his
become.
obsession with the Arathi
Erator's
Islands?
story reaches its climax in the shadow of Blackrock Mountain, when alongside the Sons of Lothar, he must face the weight of his father's legacy and decide once and for all whether he
I
is
think
willing
we
to
can
rise to
safely
meet it.
say for sure that they will not
The raging center of an unraveling
be
shadowy
updating
maelstrom, and the epicenter of Zalatath's power. Voidstorm overflows with violence, chaos, and hostility. Stormfields twist and fold its space. Gravity becomes untethered and tethers again. Insatiable void creatures known as Dominar stalk the storm, each one as unique and ancient as it is hateful and hungry. They carry on their eternal hunt for power under the black gaze of 3 enormous nexus points, hubs of the malicious dark energy Xal'atath draws upon to fuel her void spar and conduct her unyielding assault against the Sunwell. Join Azeroth's champions and the Void Elves in their quest to understand what powers this storm and stave off its approach. Though much of the world of Midnight lies in the ominous shade of the encroaching void, there is at least one refuge for the weary, the Arcantina. What began as a hidden sanctuary is now a not-so-secret tavern haven for Horde and Alliance alike. A big,
This
cozy
is the
space filled by
tavern,
music,
the
chatter,
Hearthstone
life.
tavern that people data mine
If the
back
void
in
is the
DFA
bleak and the cold,
8.2.
the Arcantina is its opposite. A warm spark in the heart of every patron. It is a place to gather with friends, find the perfect comfy sitting room, or just soak in the
This is
atmosphere
very
of a
nice.
well-traveled watering hole. As a crossway for people of all kinds, the Arcantina also serves as a source of new adventures. Familiar faces stop by here and there, spinning stories and offering quests that send you far across.
This is a new
Azeroth
WoW
in search of
content
relics of the
mechanism.
past. Follow the course
I hope,
to discover a fresh perspective
I hope this
on
works.
familiar
I
locations.
really hope this
Xal'atath
works.
is determined in her destiny, an unrelenting foe with an army that never sleeps. But you can't live every moment in grim resistance. The Arcantina is always here, should you find yourself in need of a little respite. The mysteries of the origins of the Void and the knowledge and power to stop it are not to be found only on the surface. For true deliverance, as always, hides in snarled labyrinths, looming temples, deadly ruins. These delves, dungeons, and raids are the real font of power, the sacred and defiled spaces from
We're
which
on to
strength
delves
is not just
now.
earned, but taken. Across this void-darkened world hide myriad delves overflowing with incalculable danger.
That Arcantina,
Located
really,
on the
really
Isle
like
of Quel'Danas, Parhelion Plaza is an outdoor delve
Ooh, this
that
is
drops you
pretty.
into the heart of the defense of the Sunwell. Fight against the surge of the Void's attack by restoring Parhelion's defenses, commanding an artillery of light, ducking into pocket dimensions, and putting down Gladius Slana, a Dominar who uses summoned Voidwalkers as weapons against your stand. Expect to plunge the depths of 9 other delves and 1 seasonal nemesis delve.
I'm a bit
when midnight
disappointed
launches.
that we're down to
You
9
do not have
delves,
to face
in
these
all
delves
honesty.
alone. Valera Sanguinar is
Well,
a powerful new
I guess it
companion
is what
with
it
a
is.
rogue-minded approach to problem solving. As a DPS, her killing spree ability has her moving through the shadows to lash out at multiple enemies. As a
I was
healer,
wondering
she uses
if they would
vampiric
keep
reaping
the
to rip away
leader,
the life force of
like,
enemies
BFA
into
either
orbs you can
outfit,
collect to heal.
and I guess they
And
are.
as a tank, she uses your first mistake to taunt and do damage over time to any enemy that turns their back on her to attack her ally. Valera is also a prolific provider of poisons that, depending on her role, empower you with more damage, better avoidance, increased speed, and more.
That could be interesting. Right, dungeons.
Your adventures in Midnight.
I liked
eventually
what they're
lead you
doing
down
here.
darker
I like
paths,
this a lot.
Paths that end in overgrown
I think it's quite
corridors
cool.
and ruin-stricken relics, forgotten places of powers best left unstirred. Yet these dungeons promise plunder worthy of the peril, should you have the courage to overcome the challenges within. Windrunner Spire, the former residence of the Windrunner family, haunts the skyline of Eversong Wood's western shore. The strained relationship of its namesake sisters, Verisa, Sylvanas, and Ilaria, imbues its halls with a sullen, spiteful energy. The
Sullen,
restless spirits
spiteful.
bound to this animosity threaten all who draw near.
I like the look of this.
Among these spirits walks the Windrunner's soul brother, Lirith, who needs your help in quelling this restlessness and clearing his once great home of hate.
Oh, the Lost
Serenity,
Windrunner.
however, is not so easily claimed. There are other forces that seek dominion over this domain. Emberdawn, a fire-colored dragonhawk, claims the dilapidated gardens of the Spire as a nest for her young. She is fiercely territorial, answering intruders with both talon and flame. The derelict duo comprised of the Banshee Callis and her loyal abomination Latch lead a band of fanatical undead in a hunt for relics tied to Sylvanas. They meet outside interference with a mix of shadowy magic and brute strength. Commander Krolok, a merciless orc who oversaw countless conquests during the Second War that took Lirath Windrunner's life, stalks the Spire with an insatiable bloodlust.
I'm surprised they're going into
Since
this
being slain in
amount
vengeance by
of
Valeria,
detail.
Krolok knows
Argentina,
only torment
really
and
excited
the
for that.
desire to pass it on.
That was a
The
brand new
restless heart,
thing.
a concentrated whirlwind of grief and suffering born from the conflict of the Windrunner sisters envelops all who remain in turbulent turmoil. This swirling spectre takes the form of a ranger, combining the power of the wind with volleys of arrows to cut down the uninvited. Windrunner Spire was, at one point, a living embodiment of family and of legacy. With the help of Lirath and your allies, you can make it so once more. 7 more dungeons await you in Midnight, each one crawling with the Cutthroat and the Craven. Magister's Terrace and Murder Row in Eversong Woods, the Den of Nalorak and Mysara Caverns in Zulaman, Blinding Vale in Harandar, and the Voidscar Arena and Nexus Point Zenith in Voidstorm. The most tyrannical antagonists of Azeroth
Raids
their
next.
dark deeds from within Midnight's 3
Showing us
new
a
raids.
bit of the raid.
The Void Spire.
Oh, the
with
Legion. I
bosses
saw
so
Legion
called
Warframes.
from the heart
That
of the void,
brings
and mustered
back
against the amassing
not the
vanguard
best of
Azeroth
memories, I
as it
will say.
readies to storm the walls of Xal'atath's stronghold. The Dream Rift, where you must join in the hunt for an undreamt god that never should have been, and put down half-birth
I'm guessing there
abominations
won't be
that lash
ready
out
to show
against
us much of
existence
the
itself.
interiors yet.
And the
Raids
march
are
on Quel'Danas,
always quite late in their
an
death
encounter
cycle.
still shrouded by the fog of war.
Funny.
Beyond the known presence of Beloren, the void-corrupted phoenix, who stakes a ceaseless watch over the entrance to the chambers beyond. The void
That's
threatens
going to be
end all of Azeroth,
controversial.
to rend the world
Because
in
it
the
don't
squall
look
of a
much
black
like a
tempest.
phoenix to me.
But the extraordinary
Eh?
power it carries does provide opportunities to those heroes willing to embrace it. Devoured demon hunters bend the void to their will, ripping void fragments from their enemies and using them as the power source for cataclysmic spells. They are mid-range damage dealers, armed with a summonable void scythe, darting in and out of the fray as they dance on the line between control and chaos. Voidblade and Hungering Slash work in concert, dash into melee range to deliver a series of crushing void scythe attacks, then use Vengeful Retreat to escape the enemy's reprisal. You can also start this combo off with a Void-charged The Hunt. Metamorphosis transforms you into a familiar state of cursed power. The more you feed it,
Not
the longer it
like a new
lasts.
spec doesn't
Ride the wave
honestly
of
super
annihilation by
excite
tearing
me.
apart souls
I
and
will
staying
say-
alive. Reap is a sweeping scythe attack that consumes
One
all
bit
of
that
your
I'm not
soul
really,
fragments
I'm
for
kind
one
of just
massive
super meh
burst
from.
of damage.
But then I'm
Use
not
Void Ray to cut through
totally
enemies in a
like
straight line and leave them
wedded to the
smoldering.
idea of new classes
Collapsing
or
Star
races.
channels the immense
Like,
energy
I
of a
will.
dying star, focusing it into one single destructive blast.
Well, we'll talk about Hardenir in
The
a
more
minute,
you
I think.
cast it during your
But I
void
will be, you know,
metamorphosis,
leveling
the
up a
stronger it
Hardenir.
gets.
Yeah.
Demon hunters also find themselves with new disciples in Midnight. Void elves are sharpening their war glaives and joining the hunt. Newly awakened to the dire threat of Midnight, the Haranier join the fight for the surface as the next playable allied race. Haranier are deeply entwined with the organic world. Theirs is a culture shaped not by cities or by conquest, but by the roots, the stones, the quiet
quite
pulse of the
diverse
deepest
lighting, I
breath of
have
the
to
world. Their armor, their
They're
weapons,
probably,
their
if they're
skin,
presaging
all
it
are
as
infused
alpha
with the inner
footage.
light of organic
Well,
power.
it's probably a sneaky way of
Even
saying
mightiest
this is what the
primordial
game really
predator
looks
Halandar
like.
knows to fear the
Which I do
telltale
not object
luminescence of
to
the
at
Haranier's
all.
markings in the dense
I do
jungle
not.
brush. They are primal, ferocious hunters, a force of nature unto themselves, who possess the racial ability to travel along the roots of the world From Harandar to any world tree.
Any sort
or
of travel
from anywhere
ratio
back
is
to
always
Harandar.
super hype, I will say.
Haranir are versatile warriors who can choose from a wide range of
I think
paths,
this is only going to last
including
half an
those
hour
of warrior,
because
hunter,
they are moving
rogue,
it
priest,
quite a clip here.
shaman, mage,
So they are.
warlock, monk, and druid. The last of which has all new forms that reflect the Haranir's unique connection to those hidden parts of the earth. Prey
Deadly.
is a
Oh, he's
secret
Prey.
opt-in
Right,
initiative
more
run out of
information.
Silvermoon City by Astalor Bloodsworn, a blood elf with what some might call a colorful past. Astalor is after one thing: anguish, a powerful magic siphoned from Azeroth's deadliest
Okay,
threats.
so we're
And he's
collecting
offering
AP
generous
again.
compensation to
Anguish
heroes
power.
who are courageous or foolhardy enough to go chase it. Astalor's lair in Murder Row is your base of operations for Prey, the place where you pick your targets, track your progress, and collect your rewards, including cosmetics, mounts, titles, and housing items. The deeper you go, the harder the challenges, and the more you unlock. Prey has 3 difficulties. Normal, which serves as an introduction to the system, along with offering plenty of challenge.
That's a
Hard,
variable
where the
world
ambushes
here.
get meaner, and the encounters more intense. And
Hard mode.
Nightmare, which is just
Oh.
about the fastest way to gain intimate knowledge of Midnight's many new and scenic graveyards. Prey can ambush you
Yeah.
at any time.
I'm not
whether
sure
you're
how
questing,
variable
exploring,
difficulty is
or
going to work
minding your
for
own
now.
business.
I'm sure
Each
people
time you
like
defeat
the
your
idea of
target,
it,
you increase your
but I am
advantage by
not
tiring
sure
them out
people
and
will
buying time
actually
to find
use it
whatever dark
in
hole
anger.
they're hiding in. Higher difficulties incorporate torments, personal afflictions that only impact you. Torments cause a wide range of effects, like creating an AoE damage puddle under recently deceased foes, or haunting you with a bloody spirit that deals lethal damage when it catches you. A torment can also manifest in the form of Astalor's impatience, forcing you to make a kill within a specific time limit before
Yes.
Astalor simply extracts his payment from you. Prey targets are
This
all different
feels a
and
bit like
all
Eye of the
deadly.
Jailer.
Magister Fantastica, a disgraced blood
I'm...
elf whose
Well,
reckless magic
you know
is
what?
a
I'll
threat to
hold
Silvermoon
judgment
and
till I
everyone
play it
near
in earnest.
High
But
Vindicator Vareen,
I'm
a
not
zealot who believes the
convinced
void can
by
only be
that.
defeated by
I'll
covering
be
the
quite
entire
frank.
world in holy flame, and is ready to put that belief to the test. Executor Canius, a sadistic dominar whose primary hobby is murdering anyone foolish enough to challenge his martial prowess. Prey is a way to add excitement, unpredictability, and challenge to your journey through Midnight. But be warned, there's a reason Astalor isn't chasing these targets himself. There's a reason Astalor isn't chasing these targets
That
himself.
glitched again there. Sorry about that.
For those who tread the worn paths and soaring skyways of Azeroth, it is more than a world, more than story, character, or conflict. Azeroth is, and always will be, home. Housing in Midnight is dedicated to that ineffable feeling of being part of something bigger, of something greater, of living a real life as a
I
true
can't
part
wait
of a
to get
real
my hands
world.
on
Housing in WoW is built to
Aye.
give you
Oh, they
boundless
remembered the horde.
self-expression
They
in
remembered the
place
horde.
you call yours. Collect hundreds
All
of
those
decorations and
interiors
dive
are
deep
so
on
aligned,
customization.
aren't they?
Place, rotate, scale, and move items to your heart's content. This is more than changing a coat of paint or choosing a different picture frame. It's a sandbox for your imagination. World of Warcraft has over 2 decades of content, and the time you've spent in Azeroth over the years will
What
yield a
they have
bounty
done
of housing rewards.
makes this make sense.
Milestones like completing
off
your
the
Legion
charts,
Order Hall
so off the
campaign
charts,
or
it's not.
finishing completionist achievements like Back to the Beyond will award housing items post facto. You'll also earn decor through dungeons and raids,
Post
reputation
facto,
vendors, achievements, quest lines, housing endeavors,
after the
auction
fact.
house, holidays and live events,
Yeah.
and crafting.
sure.
All professions from all expansions can craft decor. Search the world for lumber,
This is
a new
oh,
gathering
like
resource,
it.
and use it to craft decorations that can be bought and sold on the auction house. Many housing-specific items can be dyed, giving you greater
That's how
control
it's
of
going
the
to work.
finer details of decorating. Imagine your dream home. Collect and craft the decor to bring it to reality. then tweak it until it is just right. Floor plans are flexible. You can rotate and stack rooms to create multi-floor structures. A variety of room types and shapes are
will we be
available,
able to do
including
that
normal
from day one?
squares and rectangles,
That's a question.
L and T hallways, as well as some more fantastical configurations. Advanced mode takes the toolset
I do
even
want the
further,
stairwell.
allowing you to adjust each piece of decor
Looks
exactly
really
as
cool.
you want. Rotate, float, scale, and more to make your home a perfect reflection of your taste. And that's just the inside. The outside
Oh,
of your house
here we
is
go.
also
Exteriors.
customizable.
They haven't
Place your
showed
home
us
how you want
anything,
it
so
on your
this
plot.
is new.
Add fountains, statues, planters, and more. Change out your windows. Pick the
Can I
perfect
change the
chimney.
roof colour?
Add a
Can I have
tower,
the
and decide
non-blue
on the
colour?
door of your
Come
dreams.
on, gonna tell us.
Exterior plots
No.
also have the same advanced mode as interiors for even more modification. At Midnight's official launch, you'll have a choice between exterior themes based on orcs, humans, blood elves, and night elves. These aren't just skins, they're full architectural styles with unique customization options. Orc homes feature hide rooftops, bonfires, and rugged surfaces. Human homes are rustic,
Okay.
with sturdy stone walls,
Okay.
warm wooden floors, and colorful banners. Level up your
Order
house
attention.
to unlock more flexibility.
Oh,
New
we
rooms
can
and
change
floors,
colours
bigger
eventually.
house sizes, increases in the number of spots for decor, and more. Every house is in a shared zone known as a neighborhood, where you and others can show off your homes, build community, and participate in rolling challenges to earn housing rewards. Neighborhoods feature a wide variety of biomes, from spooky forests and coastal plains in Founders Point to lush oases and windswept bluffs in Razorwind Shores.
First one looked
All
better
contain
than I was
different kinds of
expecting.
plots.
Lord.
Some are secluded and quiet, while
That's
others are
nice.
clustered for the socially vibrant.
No.
Your neighborhood is faction-coded in its aesthetics, but not faction-exclusive in its residency. You have the choice between two types of neighborhood. Private neighborhoods where guilds or groups of friends can form their own space. Public neighborhoods where you'll find a home among friends you haven't met yet.
Oh,
Private
that's a
neighborhoods
funny
come
look.
in two varieties. Guild neighborhoods, which scale to fit your guild roster, and charter neighborhoods, which are capped at 50 homes and are perfect for tight-knit communities. Endeavors are monthly neighborhood-wide activities that bring everyone together to complete tasks, unlock themed decorations, and contribute to helping your neighborhood evolve. Participate in endeavors to earn House XP and community coupons
House
that give you
XP?
access to exclusive decor.
Unity coupons.
Above all,
Interesting.
housing is designed to help you find your perfect space and transform it to your own fantasy.
I
haven.
can't wait to get my
To
hands
create
on
your
it.
own home, sweet home.
There's so many dimples in the detail.
And there you have it. Thank you so much on behalf of the entire World
Okay,
of
so
Warcraft
just
team
half an
for
hour.
joining us for this overview of Midnight. And if after what you just saw you can't wait to get your hands on housing, don't worry, because it's coming your way if you have Midnight in early December of this year.
Early December.
Thank you again, and we'll see you in Azeroth.
That's when the 0.7 patch is coming out. Which is pretty much bang on, I think, most people's predictions. Sounds reach. Lower walking. I hope they fix the bugs in lower walking. They cannot allow new players near the state it was in when they launched it. And oh, here's changing. Apex challenge. Yep, we all knew all about this.
Friends, we hope you've enjoyed this deeper look at Midnight. But as you can see, this fight is far from over. The drums of war thunder once again, and Azeroth needs her champions, now more than ever.
quite a limited appearance for Chris. I don't hate it, but oh, as with it. Okay, we're doing the Q&A. So I guess I need to click through to the Q&A. Okay, we've got a 10-minute break apparently. So in that case, I will. Down a bit. Go back. That up. Game sound back on. Okay, that I have to say, I didn't hate that. I didn't hate that at all. I think it was kind of good. Right. How much do I need out of this? 14 and 7. Oh. I'm just doing a little bit of tidy up stuff on my characters. And yeah, so the Argentina is probably the most interesting piece of new information come out of that. And what I think it is back in, I think it was around 810 or 820, people data mined this giant new, people called it the Hearthstone Tavern, because I think that was what it was called in the game files. And oh yeah, I know what I want to do. And it was this massive interior cavern, and then we've never seen it up until now. But that's kind of massive. So what I think it'll probably be is like an instance, like a visiting place. But the mention of quests appearing there makes me think that this could have the potential to be some sort of new world content system. And I do hope that's the case, because I've been a bit dissatisfied with world content for quite a while now. I'm just going to drop that down. That'll probably slightly mess up the window, but I'm okay with that. Nothing on there that can dox me because of the window. Right. So yeah, that's kind of where my head space is with that. Right. What I'm just going to very quickly do is I'm going to jump up here, I think, and I'm going to get on the new Elec mount, and I'm just going to take a screenshot of it. There we go. On that. Let's mount on that. Oh, there we go. Nice wee screenshot. Just going to put this up, prepare a social media post for a suitable moment for this. Right, there we go. Oh yeah. Updating some organizing at some point very soon, once Legion Remix goes live, I'll be posting an awful lot of mounts, but Right, so. Ober? Ah, I can't spell. A weird screenshot of my entire monitors there. Or, well, I didn't post it. But I prepared to post it. That's my number 1080. Okie dokie. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Right. I think I'm going to put a light on in here. And we're back. Right, what was it? Oh, yeah, I know. So I was hoping that we would get... Excuse me if I'm munching a little bit. Okay, I think we want to... Here. This. Oh, we do want to prepare. Okay, bear with me.
Hello, we are live. Welcome to the World of Warcraft Midnight Q&A. I'm Randy Jordan, and I go by Kyvax on the Warcraft community team. We recently asked WoW players on forums and social media sites to submit questions, and you delivered. So, we've got 3 leaders of the WoW development team here. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Ian Hasikostas, Game Director on WoW.
Hi, my name is Paul Cubitt. I'm Associate Game Director on World of Warcraft, working on the
Lots
Midnight
of
expansion.
familiar faces.
Hi, I'm Maria Hamilton. I'm the design director for WoW.
We got a lot of questions, and I want to get right to them. We're going to start with some housing
Give me a
questions. So,
second. I'm going to
Cyclave
very
on the
quickly
forums asked,
restart this
actually
because
said,
lip
during
sync
a
is
Gamescom
terrible.
interview, it was mentioned that Horde players would be able to use careers and vice versa. However, in a recent blog post, it was stated that the housing styles would be faction locked. Can we get clarification on that?
Yes, there was a bit of confusion definitely around the Gamescom messaging there. As we just saw in the deep dive video, the neighborhoods ultimately are anchored in specific locations in the world. If you are in the Alliance neighborhood, you are on the outskirts of Stormwind.
A lot of this is very high
If you're
effort.
in the Horde neighborhood, you're on the outskirts of Orgrimmar. While private neighborhoods can be cross-faction, you can have your guildmates, you can have your friends of the opposite faction move in. The general setting, the exterior houses there are going to reflect the location. The NPCs that are wandering around the neighborhood, again, are anchored in that place in the world. Maybe something that we revisit down the line, but for the time being,
I don't object
if you're
to
in the Horde neighborhood, the home
I think it'd
exterior
be
is going to
really
reflect
weird
the Horde aesthetic. Take that up with
if
the
the
Orgrimmar HOA,
aesthetics
there's a
didn't
concern.
match. I don't think you'd
Speaking
really
of
want
things wandering
Horde
around,
and
player
Alliance
named
and stuff.
Hey on the EU Spanish forums asked, I know there are plans for combat pets to appear in housing. Are there also plans for hunter pets?
Yes, so pets are something in general that we're working towards. At release in Midnight, battle pets won't be available to be placed just yet. I think something that we need to solve to make that work on the engineering side is actually making sure that they can path and move comfortably around whatever configuration of objects you might happen to place in your home or in your yard. So we are planning on delivering that shortly after launch. Alongside that, we do want to add the ability to place your mounts in your mount collection.
Oh yes, I like
to,
that.
have them on
I
a
like
mission
that.
post in your
Yeah.
yard. That's something we'd love to deliver as well. Hunter pets are probably trickier. Those are character specific, and housing is an account-wide system really tied to your warband. And so, pulling from specific characters' hunter pet stable would probably be much more challenging. I'll never say never, but that's not in the plans.
Okay, so battle pets
Decor.
coming. Mounts
Bjerky
coming.
on Reddit asked, how
I like
will
that.
the trading post housing items work? Let's say
Okay,
there's a
so
chair
the
on the
lip
trading
sync
post.
is
Will
often
we have
like
to buy the chair multiple
broadcast
times if we want
completely,
a
so I
set
think
of
it's
4
on
in
the
our
other
house?
side.
Will there be a 10-chair bundle for a set price, or will the purchase
Oh,
give us infinite
apologies
amounts of
for that.
chairs?
So this is something we spent a good amount of time thinking about. There's going to be lots of ways that you can get decor starting in 11.2.7 and then into Midnight through achievements, through crafting, through completing just the campaign of Midnight and so on. And we ran into a lot of the same questions that you asked, the person who asked this question.
Yes.
And for that reason, we're actually just not going to have them on the trading post, at least for the first few months. There should be
Yeah.
plenty of other ways that
No
you can start
housing, no
gathering
trading post.
decor for your house. And then you won't have to make that hard decision between, do I want this chair versus this cool mount or cool transmog?
Another question comes from Xanther on the forums. Xanther asked, how will outdoor housing plots work? If I want a certain plot and it's taken, do I have the option to try another instance?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Essentially, when you want to move house, you're just going to say, yep, it's time to move. It's all going to get packaged up for you. Paul likes to say that a mage comes along and puts it into an arcane ball for you. Don't know if that's actually,
That is what happens.
Oh, totally. Okay. And then you can go to wherever you'd like to deploy your house, and it just comes right back out of the bubble, set up exactly how you had it. So you can move around neighborhoods, you can move around different plots within a neighborhood. Yep, totally transportable.
Right on. Celia on the German WoW forums asked, will there be updates to the guild system in Midnight?
I think most of the updates we see to the guild system are going to be in the form of neighborhoods. We expect to see a lot of guilds, especially guilds who are playing a lot actively with one another, to build guild neighborhoods where you'll be able to live alongside one another. So instead of the typical ways you're interacting with one another in WoW, whether that's raid nights, Mythic Plus nights, PvP, whatever it is you choose to do, you might also just start running into one another in the morning when you go out to get the paper. And so really looking forward to seeing guilds build stronger connections based on those guild neighborhoods.
I think the other systemic trappings of the guild system are something that we know is definitely due for a refresh. Guilds obviously have been there since the beginning, and there's definitely room for improvement. Our focus for Midnight, though, really was on the housing integration side of it, and the rest of the system is something we hope to get back to in the near future.
A highly upvoted question on Reddit comes from Chilligok. Chilligok asked, will we ever get another texture update for older races? Especially compared to Earthen, the hairstyles are outdated now.
We do have a couple which are coming in Midnight. As you complete the Amani campaign in Zulaman, you will be able to unlock some cool cosmetics for Darkspear Trolls, some cool hairstyles, and actually skin colors as well. And so if you have any Darkspear Trolls on your account, you play through the campaign, you'll be able to get some cool customizations. And this is one of the ways that we do try to approach this is as it's appropriate to the story, we'll look for cool ways that you can integrate cosmetics into your own character. That's not the only way that we might do this, though.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's something that we see as an issue to chip away at over time. We want to roll out extra customizations,
So no
hairstyles,
fundamental
you name it,
updates to
for the existing races to
customizations.
continue
It's
to bring
just
them up to
basically
parity with the very newest options.
um,
It's not something we're able to do all at once, but particularly where it makes sense and fits the story, we're excited to keep adding them. Our long-term goal is to get to a place where every race, whether brand new or one of the
yeah. So
original ones,
basically,
has worked with the
business
same
as
number of
usual
options.
for this. So
So, as we just
occasional
saw in the
like
deep dive,
little
and going back
packets
to
of
the Gamescom
improvements to
announcement,
characters
we have a system
on
coming
a
called
patch by
Prey.
patch basis.
And I have a couple questions here about Prey. System of Cells on Reddit asked, will the Prey system make all mobs in the target zone more challenging, or only the Prey target plus world quests unique to that system?
Yeah, it will affect everything in the zone for you. So if you have chosen to go into the zone chasing a nightmare mode prey, everything is going to be much harder for you. It's based on an aura that's put on you, sort of like it's almost like an affliction in a way, or a torment. And as you move through that zone, it's going to be harder.
And the player
Okay, so
in
Prey
Prey
is going to
on their
give
own?
the
They
variable
are when
world
they
difficulty.
finally wear down that boss, if it's in one of the harder modes. Then you need to go mano a mano. If it's in the normal mode, then the rest of the players in the vicinity can help you out.
Gotcha. The WoW creator Fandy asked, is the Prey system planned to be a part of the World Row in Vaults?
Yeah, in one way or another. You know, as we build our expansion, one of the last things that comes in is specifics on rewards. So we don't have the specific details now, but when we do look at Prey, we look at it as similar in difficulty and sort of player activity to the types of things that you do in Delves. And Delves do take up that bottom row of the World Row in the Great Vault as well. So we do expect, if you're running Prey, you're going to see better rewards in that row in one way or another.
Good. I want to get to one of the most highly upvoted questions we saw across all channels. This is from Weird Dandom Ally on Reddit. And that goes, any plans to rejuvenate the glyph system? All classes could take advantage of it
glyphs,
for
yeah.
class visual customizations like warlocks have with their pets and druids with their forms.
Yeah, so there isn't a glyph overhaul planned for Midnight at launch in particular, but the general question of more customization for spell visuals, transforms, things along those lines, that's one that we're also very excited about and always looking to offer more customization, more cosmetic self-expression where possible. And the glyph system is a great vehicle.
And if your
for this.
team's
It's not the
excited
only
about
vehicle,
it,
but
Ian.
where it makes sense, that's definitely one of the avenues we would use.
Okay, so that's basically an Ian non-answer. He basically said, we like the idea, but we're not going to promise anything.
I want to ask a few of those.
No glyphs,
So
basically.
starting with Kethcup on Reddit,
Oh, Ian.
the question is, do you have any plans on making PvP less daunting for new players?
We absolutely do.
yeah?
Yeah, we're really excited to introduce a new feature called Training Grounds. This is a feature where players can enter
I
battle.
knew about that.
Fighting alongside other players.
I guess
against
somebody
game-controlled
messed
opponents.
that
So instead of
in
fighting
their
against other
update.
PvPers, potentially people who have been playing this mode much longer than you, who have better PvP gear than you, and are going to wipe the floor with you, you'll be able to fight against some opponents so you'll have a little bit more of a satisfying win rate against. And because of that, we think this will be a pretty good on-ramp for people who are PvP curious, who want to get into PvP, but feel like there's just too much of a steep on-ramp because of those daunting aforementioned players who want to wipe the floor with you. This is going to start with a couple battlegrounds that players will be able to jump into with Training Grounds, and we'll see where we go from there.
I think, we love PvP, broadly speaking. I think one of the challenges is it can be very daunting to get in, as the question implies. If you're getting into PvP for the first time, you're in some cases jumping into a pool that's filled with sharks who've been doing this for 20 years. But there's so much, there's nothing quite like World of Warcraft PvP and that style of conflict, that style of combat. And so really our philosophical approach as we move into Midnight to really try to rejuvenate and grow the scene is to broaden the base of that pyramid so we can kind of lift the whole thing up and help all levels of it, whether you are the most hardcore person competing for titles at the end of every season. Everyone will be better served if people feel like they can actually enter this community for the first time and discover what is so great about WoW.
That's something I've certainly felt. There's been times I've dipped into PvP,
The PvP player and
but
creator
like
known as
even
Super
today,
Tease
doing
had the most highly upvoted question on
Yeah.
our forums. He wrote, "In the War Within, we saw major reward improvements and restructuring for Mythic Plus, which improved participation. Are there plans to look at the current reward structure for PvP, such as rating cutoffs or additional rewards?"
There are definitely plans to look at this. One thing I can say that will be changing at launch in Midnight and the first season of Midnight is that top tier cutoff coming down from 2400 to 2300 for those rewards and titles. I think looking at how MMR has evolved and how the rating ecosystem has played out, that's been a bit too exclusive even for some of our best players. Broadly speaking, beyond that, I think there's a lot more that we would like to do with the system. That's not necessarily going to be happening right at launch in Midnight, but if you look, for example, at what we changed with Mythic Plus and new titles and new structure and things like the Resilient Keystone system in War Within, those changes came in War Within patches. So as we look to PvP and its evolution over the course of Midnight, that's definitely an area that we want to focus on.
Not
Another
very
one, Xanten
committed,
on the
but
WoW forums
hopeful.
wrote, "Will War Mode receive more well-needed attention? More activities like zone objectives or rotating
Yeah,
events?
War Mode was
Maybe
great
a
in
free-for-all
Nazjatar,
treatment?"
and
Yeah, we're adding a
Mechagon
whole new
definitely
area,
needs attention.
into the Voidstorm zone. A
Oh,
giant
they are,
war
yeah.
mode area which reflects
Slayer's
the same
Rise,
space as the
it's called
Slayer's
Slayer's
Rise. Battleground.
Rise,
If you
I
watched the deep dive video, you got to see that. That Slayer's Rise
Hopefully
is also
that'll
made
work.
manifest in the zone itself. And this is, if you've played War Mode in past expansions, you know that we've taken a couple War Mode areas and had maybe one in each zone, one in Ringing Deeps and one in Isle of Dorn, where PvP, when you enable War Mode,
Oh,
you have
that's
some
avoiding the
special unique
question.
activities. We took all those and glumped them all together right into this Slayer's Rise
Actually-
area, and so there's going to be a huge PvP playground if you have War
Yeah,
Mode on.
bringing
You'll
them
do lots of
together
cool,
might actually be
world-class
helpful.
activities, reasons to just kill one another, and even if you don't have War Mode enabled, there'll still be PvP-themed content for folks doing world quests up in that area.
Why would you not have War Mode enabled?
That's a very good question. Yeah.
Because you're afraid of sharks.
Yeah, it's sharks.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Good old Ian.
Maclemente26 on
Yeah,
Reddit
you're
asked
afraid
a
of the
question
good
that we saw
players.
a lot of, which is, when can we
Ian, I
expect
think,
reputations
kind of
from
gets it now
expansions
for
prior
casual
to
players.
Shadowlands
I
to
really do
become
give that
war-bound
feeling
reputations?
sometimes.
Um,
Okay, yeah,
so
I want to
full-
know this.
Taking full accountability here, I know that when we rolled out the warbands, we said that we were going to work our way backwards through reputations. We haven't made progress as quickly as we would have liked. We got some of the Shadowlands reputations, but not the Covenant ones. This is something we're going to pick up and resume. I can't commit to a definite timetable, but in the long run, we don't want this, just internal disparity between how different expansions reputations are handled, and we'll continue to start with the most recent and work our way backwards.
Oh, implicit mea culpa there.
610 on Blue Sky said, War Within is the first WoW expansion without a legendary. Can we expect anything in Midnight, or is the team taking time to reevaluate what
The
place
cloak should
legendaries
have been
have in the modern
legendary.
game?
Cloak should have been legendary.
I think we always want to avoid things seeming formulaic, where it's like, okay, you can expect it's a new season, there's going to be a new legendary, this is how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Legendaries should always remain special.
Then-
they should feel like these are items that have
Being
clear colors
formulaic
behind them
is a
and feel
problem at
worthy
the
of
moment.
that special orange color. And yes, we're also looking always at issues with how they're awarded. We want to make sure they feel special, but also don't turn into something where it feels bad or grindy because they feel required if you want to be competitive. There's a fine line to walk there. There aren't currently any planned for the first tier of Midnight, but as we face certain foes down the line, it may make sense for some of the items that they yield to have that orange color, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I wanna
Another
ask some,
non-answer,
lower
basically.
questions. So, Asmira asked, will we be getting any more background information on story regarding Lyrath Windrunner? Sorry.
Lilith
Any of the
Windrunner.
other Windrunner family members, perhaps?
Absolutely. I don't want to talk too much about patches, but certainly in Midnight, as we go into the Spire, you will have the opportunity to really get a brother's view of his sisters and an opportunity to learn a lot more about what happened and what's happening in that place. And I mentioned before, we're going to see the sisters.
And Grody Toady on Blue Sky wants to ask about trolls. So here come all the names. Where is Vol'jin's story in all of this? I'm hoping we find a way to weave Vol'jin, Talanji, Zul'jin, Rokan, Zul'Jan, and Zul'Jara into a cohesive story about troll unity or cooperation.
Well, right out of the gate in Midnight, you're not going to see that combination of trolls, but you will see a combination of some trolls as we continue into patches and move forward. We're very much focused.
We should
on,
get something for the
trolls,
Dark
as well
Spears.
as what's going on with the
I
Blood
think
Elves.
it'd be good.
They
to
have
get
not
something
always
from
been
them.
on the best of terms for reasons, and there's definitely a story to be told about their relationship, and all of those folks come into that story.
Groxy on Blue Sky said, Midnight sees the Paladin forces of Azeroth fighting back the Void at the Sunwell. Can we hope to see more lore about the Tauren and Azeroth's sun god Ansha? Eyes of the Earth Mother told us how he and Elune slash Musha fought possibly the Void in ancient
Oh,
Azeroth.
Groxy, I
We're
know
gonna
from
hang out with,
Twitter. He's a
Desco
lore nerd.
a little bit in the Eretor's Journey portion of our campaign at Midnight, and I feel like we certainly are going to look at how the Tauren view their mythologies, perhaps later in The Last Titan.
Okay, good. Let's talk about add-ons. The
Yeah,
WoW
I want to
creator
know
Polka
this.
TV said, given the upcoming removal of many boss mod tools, how do you plan to preserve the intended difficulty?
This
of
will be
the
interesting to
once
answer
these
to
tools are
see
no longer available?
how's
So,
he
yeah,
going
this
to
is a great
respond to
question.
that.
For some extra context, I think folks are going to see in the next day or two, as some of the media interviews we've done in the last day go out, that we are rolling out
Our developer
some changes to the
interface.
add-on API with the launch of Midnight. And so that is going to remove the ability for add-ons to read in real time combat state and combat information specifically.
Combat
And one of the big
state?
reasons why we're doing this with the launch of a new expansion is so that we can really build
I hope that
all of our
doesn't
combat,
include
our encounters
combat
around
in and out
that
of
expectation around
But
this
anyway,
ecosystem.
okay.
As we've been discussing over the course of the year, really the main goal with this shift is to create a level playing field where external tools are no longer felt to be required in order to engage in the contents, at a competitive level, and also to shift some of the things that we are testing when it comes to difficulty, maybe away from Twitch reactions and how quickly you can run to the circle or diamond marker that your add-on told you to run to, and rather to more of the collaborative coordination that have traditionally marked cooperative PvE in WoW. But the goal
This
is to
does
keep
mean we're going to get
difficulty
a lot
largely the
of
same
developer interviews.
in terms of how many pulls it takes to down a boss for your guild, whether you are aiming for ahead of the curve and defeating heroic, or whether you're pushing into mythic or whatever else. Overall, it should take you about the same amount of time to accomplish what you're used to accomplishing. It's just that difficulty may come in slightly different places.
I think they're
Without
making a
add-ons
mistake
to
going in so
solve
fast.
mechanics for you in real time, it may well be the case that we just need to give you a couple more seconds to get into place, or that there should be one fewer ad to interrupt, or what have you. We are going to be rolling out, we're actually going to be launching alpha with a raid boss available for testing early on. We have a ton of native improvements to the UI, like boss timers, boss alerts, so you can see a timeline of upcoming boss abilities, nameplate improvements, cooldown manager improvements, and more. To, again, kind of create
And more.
a unified
Oh,
experience
he's so
that's baked
media
into the
trained.
UI. But the goal at the end of the day is for difficulty to remain where it was, and we will be
You're
making
not going to.
changes in alpha and beta, as well as
Ian, you're not going to achieve this. Be honest.
Sure that
It's
things are
going to be
landing in
rough.
the right place, and players still feel well equipped to overcome the challenges in front of them.
Following that, Sped Bros on Reddit asked, what is your plan for upkeep and development of these now?
I wonder how
built-in
this is going to
add-ons?
affect
Yeah, so I think
Recorder,
the functionality that
HUDs.
we're pulling into the base UI is something that, as always, we're going to be evolving in response to player feedback. Again, part of why we're very excited to get people having a look at these right at the start of alpha is so that we have the entirety of the alpha and beta cycle to iterate on them before Midnight launches. And then, of course, as always, even after the game is live, we're going to continue to add functionality based on the player requests and the feedback that we're receiving.
Ossicrond on the WoW forums said, sculpting your UI over the years is almost like working on a classic car. Fine-tuning with different fonts, color palettes, and even different types of glow alerts. What is the depth of the available customization, and are there plans to expand it in the future?
So there's a couple of facets to this question. First off, couldn't agree more that I think UI customization and using add-ons to tailor the aesthetic of a UI, how information is presented and where it's presented, I think are one of the hallmarks of the WoW experience and really one of the strengths of the game for going on 21 years now. There are no plans to eliminate or remove that. The approach we've taken in changing the way the add-on API works really is just focused on access to that real-time information.
Interesting he's saying real-time?
From our UI engineering team on exactly how this works. But whereas in the past, when we have restricted aspects of what add-ons can do, we tend to just kind of wall off sections of our UI and say add-ons can't touch this at all. But when it comes to things like nameplates or unit frames and the like, that would have been an unacceptable approach here because that aesthetic customization is so essential. So there's a brand new system that's been created where essentially pieces of information about what's going on in combat are put in the black box. And add-ons can paint that box pink or yellow or green or make it bigger or smaller, but what they can't do is know exactly what's inside the box and use that to drive logic. In addition to that, the new UI functionality that we're adding, whether it's improved nameplates or whatever, have extensive customizations in terms of size.
I'm going to guarantee you that color coding nameplates
we have no intent
is
of
going
pulling back in any way from the aesthetic
instant capability is
always offer.
Cutting to the chase, Felfer on the WoW forums asked, does this mean that existing add-ons like Deadly Boss Mods, Plater, or Details are going to break?
They will change significantly. I think certainly, day one, if you're logging into alpha and you try to enable them, I do not believe they will work due to changes in the API, but that's standard for any new expansion release. We are inviting the authors of a vast range of add-ons into our first week of alpha, so that's going to be coming up in just the next few days.
We'll see how true that is.
These changes to give us feedback about how we can better support their ongoing development. But yes, when it comes to the specific ability to read and process combat information and use that to drive logic, that is going to be changing, and that will affect those add-ons.
Okay, give me one more. This comes from Herix on the WoW forums. Herix said, what are the plans regarding improvements to the default raid frames? In the effort to reduce the need for add-ons, raid frames are a major pain point for healers, where the default Blizzard raid frames are basically unusable without at least some external modification.
So yeah, we also have improvements coming to raid frames, definitely with healers in mind. If you're, let's say, a Resto Druid who wants to be able to see all of your HOTS on a target, that's something that we agree is very important and needs to be baked into the default functionality. Same with encounter designers calling out major buffs and debuffs and things that you need to know in an encounter, whether you're a healer or just a raid leader wanting to keep tabs on the state of the encounter that way. And of course, as mentioned earlier, add-ons will still be able to customize the look and the feel and the size and the overall presentation of raid frames. There just won't be certain functionality that is driving logic based on whether you happen to have a certain debuff or not, but all the rest should still be available.
E. Chow on Blue Sky has a couple of questions. Given the connection to the Army of Light, the Sunwell and
Blood
Elves in general being their main rival in the Crusade, will we see Draenei play any sort of role? Also, will Quel'Thalas be, with Quel'Thalas being part of the main world now, will there be any updates to Forsaken Lands?
So the Draenei, obviously will be part of the fight, part of the battle that we're waging against the Void. But this chapter is focused on the Blood Elves and the Blood Elves struggle with some trolls.
Sorry, I'm still playing the game in the background.
We're going to really be leaning in there.
I've hit the combat
more
bug.
than we are with the Draenei. Opportunities, will come up for
Log
the
out.
Draenei to have their moment in the light, as it were.
Yeah, and as it goes for like changes to Forsaken Lands, well, there's some minor changes as we've added Quel'Thalas and Zul'Aman into the main body of the Eastern Kingdoms to connect them in. So there's a tunnel in the Forsaken Lands that does connect it in. We are going to see some Forsaken characters as well. We're actually gonna be working with
Interesting.
a little bit of a deep cut, but
Hello,
Alonso
Quel'Thalas?
the Archpriest
Yes.
is going to be a character who appears and has a couple interesting interactions and chats with Eretor and Liadrin and others. So we're going to continue to build out Forsaken story as we continue.
Yeah, I think looking
Very
at,
interesting.
how this is playing out and will continue to, I think we're very excited by some of the reception we've heard from Gamescom onwards about the changes to Silvermoon, Eversong, and more. Honestly, there was a bit of anxiety internally about the idea of revisiting an old changes to Silvermoon, Eversong, and more. Honestly, there was a bit of anxiety internally about the idea of revisiting an old location as for one of our zones, whether some players would view that as like somehow lesser than coming up with a brand new place. But I think as people see this
That
splendor of Silvermoon,
explains
get a chance to revisit Eversong and
why
more
they've been
come all
so
these years
resistant
later,
to doing this.
I think the excitement
I
around
think.
that really excites us too, because we'd love to be able to tell more new stories in some of the iconic locations that resonate throughout everyone's fandom of Warcraft and what Azeroth is about. And so that will mean updating those locations, and I think that's something that we're excited to do more of as we look forward. Of course, The Last Titan will see us going back to Northrend.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be a story for another day.
I think we for sure discovered that we can tell different stories when we go to old places and see how characters have changed, see how the spaces have changed. It's been a really cool opportunity to do that in Midnight.
Let's shift to some class talk. Faxia on Reddit asked, are you planning on adding any new specs that can tank or heal for existing classes?
Not right now in Midnight. I think Devourer, Demon Hunter, and that new range DPS spec for them is our focus right now. But I think we've seen, whether it's this or whether it's augmentation, there is excitement around the idea of established classes getting new specs. And so that is something I think we are likely to explore as we look to the future.
Zerotics on Reddit asked, throughout the War Within, some classes and specs received visual updates, and as a monk player, the update to Vivify was very appreciated. Are there any other classes or specs that can
Good
be
question.
revealed?
I would
getting
like an
updated
updated
visuals in Midnight?
consecration.
Yeah, there's a couple really cool Apex talents. So Apex talents are the new talents you'll be able to learn at
That's
the bottom
not what
of your
they asked.
spec tree. And a lot of these have
But
some
anyway.
fantastic visuals. Ones that jump out to me are the augmentation, where you summon a bronze dragon version of yourself from the future to fight alongside you for a little bit. The Frost Mage one as well. You summon a Hand of Frost that chases down your target and attack them. And so these are some of the new abilities that are going to get some new custom visuals. As far as looking back at older visuals, as is the case with Vivify, this is something that we tend to do as we continue to build smaller patches. Most of our efforts for Midnight was building all the new stuff, but then as we continue building out the game, we look to the future. This is where we look back at, as we did with Vivify, find abilities where we can raise the floor and say okay, this one has aged not as gracefully as the rest of our visuals, and we can bring it up to par with the rest.
Following that, we found a question from Nihenna on the German forums, and Nihenna asked, will the Void/Light topic be picked up in any additional class specs in the future? For example, Sunwell effects for a Holy Paladin, or perhaps Void powers for a Warlock?
I don't know about Void Warlocks quite yet, but we do have a existing Void-themed spec, the Shadow Priest.
Really good questions.
Which has a new ability,
I'll say
Tentacle Slam.
really good
which replaces,
questions.
Shadow Crash, and it is a giant voidy tentacle that slams down in a line in front of you and has a similar AoE component, but a lot more of a classic voidy Shadow Priest idea to it. We also have on one of our Apex talents, the Discipline Priest has Void Shield, which replaces your Power Word Shield with a Void-themed shield. So there are places where the Void and Light are leaking into our class design.
Going back to the support roles, Neo Saro on the EU Spanish forums asked, can we expect anything new regarding the support role in Midnight? Will it be expanded to other classes? Is it considered?
I'm going to predict no. I think that, yeah, I think that's the answer. Augmentation hasn't worked super well.
So we're not planning on currently expanding it to other classes, but we're also not planning on changing augmentation to just fit into the existing.
This is the answer I
think,
would have
there's a lot of
predicted, I
excitement
think.
around the idea of support. I think we've seen players embrace that fantasy. I think we are still iterating on evolving that specialization and getting to a place where we can find a happy medium, where it can kind of realize that fantasy and be effective as someone who bolsters the strength of your allies without also becoming so effective that it feels required in groups and kind of limits composition diversity. I think if we're able to achieve that, hopefully when we're able to achieve that, I do think we would like to look to what other ideas might apply a different fantasy to executing that concept.
I want to switch to the topic of delves. The WoW content creator
Nice.
True Villain Manny
I have to say,
said with
Randy's
delves
doing a
integrated
great
into
job
the
of
story, will there be certain scenarios that are locked in as we level? And will there be additional story in those alternative scenarios?
I think they already said
Yeah, as
they'd be
we,
doing some
move through the
integration of
campaign in
delves.
Midnight, we will be entering delves with specific goals in mind, and that particular variant of the story will have the objectives that we need to accomplish as we go through them. As always, our delves will have multiple variants to play through with different stories occurring. So yes, we will continue to use delves in this way, and you know, look for opportunities to continue to build quest content that enters delves.
So let's go inside. Varteris on the WoW forums said, will delves have even greater variety than in the War Within? Maybe a randomized puzzle to solve, a race, a whole new set of abilities?
Yeah, there's a couple ways that delves are changing. We have a new follower.
Okay.
Lyra Sanguinara is going to come along, and she's
Yeah.
going to mix things up. She's takes delves a little bit more seriously than Bran does, and a lot more stabbily as well.
In other words,
We also
they've
have,
heard the
some outdoor delves,
feedback
delves
that
that are gonna
delves
take place
maybe
in
a bit
outdoor spaces.
not
So this will just
bit
change up not
too
only the vibe of the
funny.
space, but your ability to move around, because you'll be able to use your ground mounts to get around. We're also just taking a look at the mechanics that we're using in delves in Midnight. So you can announce now that Midnight does not have any underwater delves. It also does not have any delves
Lesson
with a mechanic
learned.
where you have to say pick up a candle or a totem and throw it ahead.
Another lesson learned.
On a continuous
I will
basis.
bet they've been looking at
Folks,
numbers
let
of
us know
people
how they felt
doing
about those, and
delves.
we're not moving forward with those designs.
Yeah, we just didn't do them, did we?
Relentless on the EU Spanish
But
forums
thanks,
asked
Paul.
a
That's good
version of
news.
a question we got
Great to
online.
hear that they're learning.
And, Ian, what's stopping the World of Warcraft development team from doing a world revamp? Could we
Yeah.
do a world revamp?
So I know the
I
answer
mean, I
to
think,
this.
you know, the idea of revamping everything at once is a terrifying one, frankly. But
He's
I think,
scared.
as touched on earlier, you know, we definitely want to tell new stories in iconic locations, and in doing that, we would certainly do much more than just do a fresh coat of paint on the area. We would really reimagine it and bring it into the present day, as we have with Eversong. Our current focus is, of course, on the story that we're telling for the rest of the World Soul Saga. That will touch on some familiar locations. But down the line, I think the lessons we are learning and the experiences we're having, revisiting some locations, open the door to doing a lot more of it.
Saw a very upvoted question from Solera, a French WoW player on X. Solera asked, without giving away spoilers, very important,
Okay.
does Midnight introduce any completely new elven tribes or expand on lesser known ones? Maybe.
Ooh,
with
that's an
Cloudrunner.
interesting question.
Without spoilers.
Without spoilers.
That's a tough constraint.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I like
I
that.
think it's spoilery to say we're going to be learning a lot about the elves and the elves' relationships with one another, and that would include Quel'Drai.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's something
Ed Zoris
for.
on the EU Spanish forums asked, with the Devourer specialization, all Demon Hunter abilities will use void effects and icons, even those shared by all three specializations. Has there been any consideration of extending this aesthetic customization to other classes?
So I think philosophically and narratively, what a Void Demon Hunter represents, what a Devourer Demon Hunter represents, is one who, rather than harnessing and channeling fel energy, is channeling void energy to turn it against those who originally wielded it. And so that is going to transform a wide range of their abilities. On the other hand, when we look at, let's say, a fire mage or a frost mage, they're not forsaking the arcane when they become a fire mage. And so Blink is still an arcane spell, and Counterspell is still an arcane spell, and so forth. And so I think when we look at other classes, we generally like to look at that broad base of multiple, areas of focus. And just because you specialize in one thing doesn't mean that that transforms all of the others. That said, touching on some earlier questions, when it comes to glyph spell customizations and other things that players may want to customize the look and feel of their abilities, there's always an opportunity there.
Another highly upvoted question all over the place. I'll take the version of this question from Navarel on the EU German forums. Would you consider replacing the ready-made group in follower dungeons with characters from the player's warband?
Definitely something we are considering. Not something we're going to be able to deliver for Midnight, but ever since the introduction of both warbands and follower dungeons, this idea, this request has popped up. It's something that we're excited about internally as well. There's some technical hurdles to kind of pull that information down in real time and make it work, but it's something we do want to deliver down the line.
Ian's not lying about technical hurdles. There were multiple technical hurdles in the way. We're actually jumping over one of them with Training Grounds, where we're changing the way that some of those game-controlled characters or bots are built to be building Training Grounds in this way gets us one hurdle closer to being able to do what you're asking for.
There are so many people on this development team that I would call technical hurdlers. Engineers, that's just what they do. They jump over hurdles. So, Maria, Silo on the WoW forums asked, will there be new mini-game type quests in Midnight?
Yes, there will be. We actually have a new mechanic that was created for Zul'Aman specifically, where you will do some, underwater stuff. It's quite fun. It's the Amani Abyss style. You're going to be going fish and troll style.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a revelation. I like that. While we're revealing things, Musselton on the WoW forums asked, I'm extremely excited for the Heronir. Can you share more information on their druid forms?
Well, conveniently, if you watched the deep dive, you saw a flash of those. Fundamentally, they all have quills to throw back to sort of the Heronir, but the tank form is a pangolin bear with sort of bat-like ears.
They all sort of got those ears.
Yeah, they got.
right?
They got
I
the
have a
ears and
lot to
quills.
talk
And,
about in my Saturday video, I'm
we
going to
have
have to say.
Wolverine for our feral spec. We have an owl-like, quilled owl-like sort of boomkin. But best of all has got to be the swimming form, the swimming travel form, which is an axolotl.
Axolotl.
With quills.
We're all going to learn how to say axolotl.
Yeah, I probably said it wrong, but yeah.
No, I think you got it right. I think you did.
Okay, cool.
The reveal of the Heronir led to a very common question. And a version of that question that I want to ask you came from Racktoner on Reddit. Can you explain the decision-making process for which races to make playable races?
A lot of this comes down to narrative. There's no secret that we started talking to the Heronir in the War Within, and this was not a coincidence either. We wanted to build a familiarity with Orwena, with her crew, so you'd understand who these characters are when they do eventually become playable characters, as we've added them in Midnight. And of course, Midnight is part of a 3-chapter saga. We're in the middle chapter now. The Heronir are going to be a big, important part of this story, and this is why we chose to fold them in.
I feel bad often being the bearer of bad news in these conversations, but I know that it's not lost on us that there are widespread requests from players who would love to be a Sethrak or an Ethereal or the like. And part of the question there is, as Paul said, narratively, like, does it make sense for this faction to really join the Alliance and Horde if there's, if they're cosmic, extraplanar, or more neutral by nature? But the reality of it is also, from a production perspective, one of the things we grapple with is that adding a brand new race to World of Warcraft is one of the most development-intensive things we can do, not just in one-time time commitment, but also in the long-term carrying cost for every set of armor we ever make for years and years to follow. And it's something that we have to weigh very, very heavily when we do. Building a race that uses or shares an existing rig, an existing skeleton, if it's an elven race or the like, makes that more straightforward. Again, that's not to say we're never going to add very novel or meaningfully different races down the line, but it's a very high bar for us to clear when we look at how much ultimately it's going to mean that we have to do less of in other places forever in order to support this
doing less of
alongside
other
the others.
things to deliver
As I've said to you
something
before,
is a
I'm not
reality of
Saberon.
development.
I will wait. I will be patient.
Every
Please
bit
give me
of
Saberon.
development
So,
you
Massive
do
Bear on the WoW
comes at the
forums
cost of
asked,
other
will
stuff you
Harrier
couldn't
be
do.
unlockable in the 3 days of early access? I remember Earthen were not.
No, not during the first 3 days. So during that early access, we want to make sure that we're letting players who are in that early access be able to play through the campaign and understand, what's going on, but not getting any meaningful jumps ahead of anyone else who does not have that early access.
Meredith on the WoW forums asked, how is Blizzard progressing in the war against toxicity in terms of the entire game?
Yeah, I like that.
This is something that's a huge focus
Good
for us,
question.
and really, there's many facets to the
So you
question and
don't
the
act
discussion.
like it, Ian. I'm going to be
When
blunt.
people say toxicity, there's a few different meanings, perhaps, or things that they're referring to. Some of it is just the overt, hostile, harmful, antagonistic interactions that may occur online between players. We're always continuing to shore up our reporting tools, improve real-time monitoring, and get to a place where people who are
Reporting is
disrupting
no
our
use,
world
Ian, if
can
you don't
be punished
act
and
in the
ultimately removed
report.
from it if they continue to do that. On the other hand, though,
Yeah.
I think sometimes
And
when
that'll
people
require
talk about
customer
a community
services
or a
people
portion
who
of
you
the game
fire.
feeling
Well,
toxic,
not you, but
that can arise from just mismatched expectations. Like, if I am listing a group and I'm trying to run a raid, and I have done that raid 12 times, and I have been through groups that have
he's
not
right
been
about
learning
this.
encounters,
This is a
it's
problem.
reasonable for me as a leader of a pug to only want players who have a certain level of experience,
I
who
get
have
it.
also
Yeah.
been through those learning
Yeah.
wipes and can succeed quickly. And so someone who is looking to learn may feel like, oh, this is very unwelcoming, this is kind of toxic, why aren't we, why am I not welcome here? And ultimately, that's an issue of aligning expectations. And I think there's a lot more that we can do on the pro-social side of things to help people find like-minded players and like-minded groups. There's nothing wrong with wanting to complete something quickly and efficiently. There's also very
One
certainly
of the
nothing
problems
wrong
is a
with
lot of
wanting to
the
learn and wanting a patient group.
Hmm,
Now, if you mix those two groups, there are going to be some conflicts that emerge naturally because of different goals and expectations. So I think a lot of what we're focused on right
He's
now is
right
also how
about
we
that.
can help players
He's totally
interact
right.
with like-minded individuals.
Problem
that
is,
can have satisfying
I'm not
experiences
convinced
where everyone is
people
on the
will
same
ever
page,
use
working
those
towards the same
tools.
goals.
Thank you. I want to rip through some more housing questions. We've got several.
Yes, please.
Will we get to see our alts walking about, or maybe sitting in a chair in our house? Paul?
Yeah, this is, we're looking at a lot of the same technical hurdles we talked about earlier, not only with being able to show players and other players in game, but also the pathing issues that Ian mentioned when it comes to being able to have your pets moving around and mounts moving around and whatnot. So not planned yet, but something we do talk about is a potential for the future. And I'll take this moment to say that housing is one of those features which is really exciting for us because there are so many cool ways for it to grow. As we've built Midnight and we're sharing housing for the first time, we're going to be looking to you to tell us, what do you want? Is it that we want to see our house? Do we want more features? Do we want more decor? Do we want more ways that I can style the interior or exterior of my house? So let us know as you continue playing.
Yeah, philosophically, with a feature the size of housing, this is something we've been working on for a very long time to really deliver what players have been expecting and what they deserve. But there comes a point when we're developing, especially a social feature, where we're almost hesitant to take it too far until we can actually share it with the community and understand what people are into, what they're maybe not into so much, what they want more of, what they don't need more of.
I like this answer. It's what he's basically, yeah.
Places that are going to maximize that value
Get
for players.
something out that's really good,
To see people jump in
but has more
months ahead and
potential to
alpha
do,
beta,
and then see what
and then
people
beginning
actually
this
ask
December
for,
on the live servers, and see
which
where it goes from there.
will give it,
So here's a
because then the
very
team can
specific question
deliver the
from
features
Alaska
we want
on the
rather than
forum.
the features they think
For
we
housing
want,
and
because they won't be the
professions,
same
it was
thing.
stated that
I
professions
like that
through
answer
all
a lot.
expansions will be able to craft housing items. Will we be able to use this as a skill catch-up for the past expansions? For example,
Lot
could
to like
a
in these
leatherworker
answers,
start
by
at
the way.
craft
Lot to
leatherworking
like.
skill 1 and craft Wrath-themed housing items to get all the way to level 75.
I mean, these will give skill ups for sure. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how many of them will be available at level 1, for example. They may be tuned based on how elaborate the piece of decor is, but in general, yeah, once you get the level that you're able to build these things, then you continue to use them to level up.
So many very specific requests. I want to just give you this one. It comes from Spera on the WoW forums. Is it possible to add a functional bookshelf to player housing that could store and display collected in-game books? I have a lot of those.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. That once you share housing with the world, then 1,000 cool ideas come out, and so we start gathering up all these cool ideas and say, what can we do next? I can confirm there will be bookshelves. Whether those bookshelves will be functional, no, not at least to start. But this is a really cool idea for a collection that we're gonna take back to the team.
And a couple more. Ian, Devanir on Reddit wrote, what is the minimum player limit for a private or guild neighborhood? What happens if you make a private neighborhood with
This
the
is
minimum
one
amount of
thing
people,
I
and
want
then
to
some
know.
of them go away?
So this is something that's still a bit in flux. I think our current thinking
They
is
can't
that
make
like
up their
signing a
own
guild
mind.
charter, you'll need 10 players to charter a private
10
neighborhood.
players? Okay. That's
and
a
that's
lot.
for a couple of reasons.
That's
part
a
of it is,
lot.
in order for neighborhood systems
That's
endeavors
gonna be hard.
to really to function optimally, there's a certain number of players that are going to be expected to really drive the system. But also a piece of it is just server performance. Using an extreme example, if literally every single player online had their own personal neighborhoods, that would be potentially millions of simultaneous entire districts that need to get spun up, trying to make sure the servers don't melt here. And so striking a balance between what's going to be a good social experience, but also recognizing that players have friend groups of various sizes, and we want to be as flexible as possible. I think if we're able to lower that number from where we're starting, it's something we would aim to do as we see how the tech side of it unfolds.
They've got
I saw
form
a
for
vote
doing
question
that,
on
loading
Reddit
numbers
from
like
a
that.
player named Backstabeth. And this is a question I have myself.
Fairly a trustworthy fellow.
Very much. Will there be a list of collections and their sources for housing materials before housing goes live so that we can begin to start hunting for those items, maybe reputation, achievement requirements? I'd love to know what I already have or what I'm close to having.
Yeah, a ton of that is going to be visible in the alpha build coming up in just a day. But we'll have a blog summarizing it, so you don't need to, go trawling for the information, and that way everyone can get a head start on checking off those achievements that you may have missed.
Mm.
Let's
nice.
come
So
back
they're
to
gonna
a
tell
couple of
us.
fun questions
I like
before
that.
we go here. Bale Samel on the WoW forums asked, "Are we getting a capybara, Loa? There are capybaras in the Yamani screenshots. The people yearn for a
Capybara Loa.
capybara."
Well, conveniently,
I
there
like
is
that
one.
idea.
His name is Philo,
Oh.
the capybara Loa of children.
Oh.
And I hope he has a prominent headdress.
Absolutely, and a glorious.
A nice,
outfit.
easy,
That's
non-controversial
Lois should
question
be
to
very
answer.
well outfitted.
I like this. I like that a lot.
Finnerfin on the WoW forums asked, "Could we see the return of class quest lines? Legion was
Class
great,
quests.
and it was fun to have a unique experience questing on alts."
Yeah, class quest lines come up really often as something people are excited about. We certainly do want to look more at, expanding on classes. We had a lot of fun doing the Warlock one, for example, not too long ago. But most recently, the best way for you to play some class quest lines, if you never played them, has to do with our lore walking, because where we had restrictions, for example, on the Xalatath story, previously, a lot of people didn't know anything about Xalatath and the knife, and by playing that lore walking, they had the opportunity to play that portion of the priest quest line. So we're hoping that as we build more lore walking, you'll have that opportunity to see some of that, but this is certainly an area that the quest and narrative team would be thrilled to do more of.
Good. It's our last question. And I cobbled this together from versions of this question that I found everywhere. I want to give a shout out to some of the people that I borrowed this from. Aziriel, Simplejack, Martian, Zuburius on our forums, all asked versions of this. Ian, how will player power progression be updated in Midnight, especially regarding Valor Stones?
So yes, so the way the upgrade system's played out over the last couple of expansions, I think we're happy with the sort of granular incremental progression that complements that spiky randomness of loot drops. But there is, and we agree with player feedback that we've heard, potentially one too many moving pieces and a bit too much complexity in the current system. So I can announce that Valor Stones as a currency will be going away in Midnight. You're already needing to gather the crests that you need, and that should be sufficient. We're also looking to streamline the system a little bit and more clearly pair individual crest tiers with appropriate gear upgrade tracks so that there's potentially less confusion about what crest matches to what.
Anything further, Paul?
No, I think that's great. Yeah, yeah.
We're over here pumping fists.
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
very excited.
Yeah, rip Valor Stones.
Well,
and on that note,
I wonder what they'll do
our
with
time.
the Ethic
Thank
Plus
you, Ian,
update.
Paul, Maria. Thank you for
Hey,
taking
this
the
wasn't
time,
an
and
hour,
thank
guys.
To
You
everyone
promised us an
that
hour.
came along.
Okay, I won't
We've
hold
got
them to it.
Midnight alpha testing
But
starting
that was
very
cool.
soon.
I like
we
that.
can't wait to see you there and welcome you home.
So I contribute to an add-on as a developer, and we have basically no contact with Blizzard. So we'll be a good kind of test case for Blizzard letting add-on developers into the alpha. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I am going to remove this. I'll turn WoW back on very briefly. Come on, that's it. So we'll see how that plans out. But for now, I'm going to drop off because it's getting near my raid time. A huge thanks to all of you who came along and watched. I'll be back probably streaming online on Saturday night. And I'll also have my regular news video where I will be talking about everything we found out here. But anyway, for now, I'd like to say a big thank you for joining me.